So I think many of us live in a world where it's not okay to not be okay. And what I mean by that is we spend a lot of our time and effort accommodating the world and what the world presents to us. And that results in us acting a certain way to meet certain people. And we create roles, we create identities to be able to interact at work, with our family, with our friends. And actually, I think when we do that, we actually close down certain aspects of ourselves. And when we do that, we almost leave a gap. There's almost a space in between our authentic self and then the person that we're pretending to be. And it's in that gap where we feel a sense of insecurity. There's something missing, but we keep rolling, we keep moving, we keep appeasing people and accommodating people because we feel that we want to be the best version of ourselves. But that doesn't always mean being our authentic self. And I think when you have that gap in your life that you constantly need to keep filling, then there is something actually that's still sitting there unfulfilled. And taking some time out in your life, spending time with yourself and addressing this gap can be really, really uncomfortable. And I think this is where many people come unstuck. So we fill our lives with things to do, constantly checking our phones, constantly keeping busy, and it's to avoid spending time in this space of what it truly feels like to be our full authentic self, to be able to express and feel who we are and how we are, which is rarely the case when we're speaking and spending time with other people. And I think what happens is we end up in a state of overconsumption, where the general consensus is that we have to be doing something. We have to be seen to be growing. We have to be seen to be successful. I know myself at school always wanted to be able to keep up, wanted to be good enough, and yet there was a part of me that knew I wasn't good enough. And so occasionally I'd distract people, or I'd, change my direction and, be the class fool so that I could move people away from seeing my, lack of intelligence in some areas, So my name's Glenn Monks, and I never really anticipated ever being in this position. And perhaps I wouldn't wish this position on anybody, because the journey for me arriving to be able to share my learning with other people has been so painful and so deep that it required for me to take a lot of time, patience and effort to be able to pull myself out of the darkest place that I've ever found myself in, and I would never wish anybody to arrive there. And yet at the same time, from this place, I've been able to really feel into the true authenticity of myself, and to be able to express this pain and vulnerability with others and share my experience. And the joy that it gives me seeing that transformation in other people just makes everything worthwhile. So the well-being test is based on a functional medicine model. It looks at 3 different aspects of the human experience. One is biological, one is psychological, and one is social. And functional medicine recognizes that triad is involved in all of our health outcomes. And so from a biological perspective, we look at the nuts and bolts, the muscles, the bones, the veins, the tangible aspects of the human being. From a psychological aspect, we look at the intangible parts, the brain chemistry and the neurology. And then from a social aspect, which is something that general medicine rarely addresses, is the environment, the impact that the environment has on us, And then also the impact that we have on other people and that live in our environment, and how that two-way flow actually satiates and begins to feed into the whole dynamics of the human being. So there is no separation between the three. All of these three aspects are fundamentally what keep us in balance. So I think we're very fortunate to have a great healthcare system, and at the same time I think that hinders us in the sense that we can tend to lean on it. We can tend to hand over our responsibility of our health to the doctor and hope that he's going to put everything right. And in my experience, I went along to the doctor. I was suffering with chronic fatigue, and there was some challenges there in my life that needed addressing, and I was offered all kinds of treatment, but rarely was any of that for me to actually address what really needed changing, which I found out later through my own journey and through my own research and understanding. And that's something the doctor never would have had time to lead me towards. So I was suggested that there were certain interventions or tests or pharmaceuticals that I could take, but only until I'd done my own research and training was I fully comfortable with making some adjustments. And the adjustments that I made were primarily diet, lifestyle, how I connected with the world and the environment, and how the environment and the world connected with me.